Willkommen beim CrÆtive Mind Podcast. Schön, dass du heute eingeschaltet hast zu einer neuen Folge. Es ist eine Special-Folge, die in Kooperation mit dem Act Bold Podcast stattgefunden hat. Meine liebe Freundin und Kollegin Anne-Alexander Sieder hat mich zu ihrem Podcast eingeladen. Das heißt, diese Folge findet auch auf Englisch statt. Ich erzähle dort einiges über das jetzt anstehende CrÆtive Mind Online Festival, das vom 11. bis zum 17. November stattfindet, und du erfährst natürlich auch einiges über meinen Weg, wie das Ganze entstanden ist, was darin alles stattfindet, wer da spricht, und natürlich ist auch meine liebe Freundin Anne ist auch mit dabei als Speakerin, und du erfährst natürlich auch, worüber sie sprechen wird. Wir haben in dieser Folge auch über einige andere sehr spannende Themen gesprochen, zum Beispiel, was es bedeutet, als Künstler, als Schauspieler authentisch aufzutreten, was es bedeutet, kreative Risiken einzugehen, wie du dich gut pitchst als Schauspieler und wie du Vertrauen und Selbstbewusstsein in deiner Karriere aufbauen kannst. Und diese und viele andere Themen findest du in dieser Folge. Ich wünsche dir ganz viel Freude und Inspiration.
Welcome to another episode of Act Bold. Today, I have a very special guest, as she is a dear friend of mine, Micah Durling. She is an actor, and she is also a career coach for actors, a mindset coach for actors. And I've had Micah on the podcast before. We've had very good conversations, so you're in for a good one this time. But I've invited Micah back onto the podcast because she's putting on an online festival. And I really wanted to get into her head about why she's doing it, what she expects to get, to give, who the other participants are going to be. It is in German for the most part, this festival, but it still might be very interesting for those of you in the German speaking world. And this conversation is definitely going to be in English. So you're still going to get a lot out of it. And without any further ado, Micah, welcome back to the podcast. I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. I'm looking forward to this conversation. Let's see where that
Well,
leads.
oh,
You have
yeah.
to. Oh,
And
I'm
we
so
just did
happy.
the wonderful workshop together. We met for the first time in person in Berlin. So Micah and I have been online friends for a few years now, but we met in person at an acting workshop in Berlin with Kim Ferrant, the director, who is also on both of our podcasts.
Well, so getting goosebumps when you talk about that workshop.
It was
Really,
so good.
it
It
was
was
so good.
so good. Yeah. Yeah. Kim's going to come to Munich next year.
Yes, I want
Yeah.
to come again.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I honestly, I recommend it to everyone. And
Me too.
it's very interesting. After the workshop, for a while, I kind of disappeared a bit from, I don't know, from Instagram and from the public, because I felt like I'm processing a lot of things and I cannot name them. It was, I never had that like that before. I was like in such a process, and it was so, there was so much value for me in, but I could name some things, but I also couldn't, like, I couldn't grab it what it was. And now it's, I think, 6 weeks ago. Now I'm in another place, but that was huge, like really life changing for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she's an amazing coach. She really is.
Yeah.
I mean, I've worked with some really excellent coaches, and I would say there's only one other coach who I think might be as good as she is. And I'm not going to start naming names because that wouldn't be very nice, but she's amazing. So if any of you ever have the chance to work with Kim, take it, because she truly is amazing. And, you know, like when I wrote my feedback to her, I had said it was like shiatsu of the soul. You know, it just really like loosened up all the knots and the channels to my emotions. And I mean, I think I still need another good massage. But not that it's all perfect, but it was really wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. And it was so
Yeah.
good to see you and get to work with you on such a
Yeah.
intimate and personal level. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was beautiful.
I feel the same.
But anyway,
Mm.
but that's not why you're here. You're here to talk about your festival, the CrÆtive Mind, which is an online festival next month. So tell me about it. First of all, tell me, what was the inspiration for?
Well, the inspiration I think the idea was already born 2 or 3 years ago. I remember when I was sitting at the beach together with a friend who is also taking part as a speaker. And I told her that I have this idea of a speaker summit in the creative industry or in the acting industry. And she said, yes, let's do it. But at that point, I just didn't know how to do it. What's the first step? I was like lost. I didn't have any idea how to start this. And then it's been in my head since a while. And this year, all of a sudden, I felt, okay, this year is the year. I have to do it, even though I don't know how. But meanwhile, I participated in 2 speaker festivals myself. It was not in the acting industry, but I was a speaker in 2 other speaker events, online events as well. And I loved them. It was so much like, you get so many different perspectives on the topics, and on here now it's about acting. But that is something I called it the CrÆtive Mind Online Festival, and it's a festival for personal development for actors. And that is something which I was going for since the beginning. I went with my coaching business, and in my acting career back then, I realized at some point that I missed this personal development and mindset and really all the layers of what is in there to grow as an actor. And that's why I started the coaching. And now with the festival, I feel like I get all the different speakers together and all the different topics. And I love that there are so many interesting topics in 1 week. And that is something, in my also personal growth. It doesn't matter if it's as an actor or as a coach or as me, my personality. I found so many different things that were useful for me. And there was one thing I had to work on my mindset. Then there were things I had to really work on my marketing skills. I had some very nice insights through a breathwork session or an embodiment session. And in this week, you can get all of the topics from different coaches and actors, also their experiences. And that is what I love about it. And I have always been very good in networking. Like also when I worked as a casting director, it was a natural, or it is a natural talent of mine, I think, to connect people and to bring people together. And you feel like that week is just a party of the best people who have always been guests and also been guests in my podcast, come together and share their wisdom. And that's why I do this, because I want
love it.
all of them in and to share it with the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that makes sense with who you are. And you are just, a super generous human being. So there are so many questions I have around this, and I'm trying to think of I think from an actor's perspective, obviously, if you are German, you should definitely participate in this because, there's just going to be so many great opportunities to do a Schnupperkurs. Just kind of look in there and see, what is interesting to you and what resonates with you and
Really.
where even maybe you may need to get some skills that you're not even aware might help you. So that's definitely one thing. But I think from an actor's point of view, like the idea of putting together a festival of this sort, I think it can be a great opportunity for creating and building relationships within the industry. And I'm always looking for ways for us actors to get on eye level. This is what I'm always saying. Yeah. And this was one of the main reasons I created my podcast was to have a way to have these conversations that are not just like, please consider me, I hope you think of me,
Mm.
little me, poor little me. And I was just so, fuck that. I was just so
Yeah.
over it.
Yeah.
And I'm a human being. I'm a grown woman, and I just have no intention of making myself small anymore.
Mm.
And it was really a way to get on eye level. And so I think that there are so many ways for people to get on eye level. And
Yeah.
doing a festival like this is one of them. And one of the things I think is I've been giving this a lot of thought. Like, what is something that you need to get on eye level, to be on equal footing? Because eye level is what we say in German, right? But in
Mm.
English, you would say to be on equal footing, which is similar, but it's not quite the same. But what you need in both of those cases is the feeling that you are giving
So-
and receiving, not that
Oh,
you are
yes.
just taking.
Yeah.
And so as an actor, you're always going, please, please, please give me, give me, give me. And when you find another way where you can say, I have this, where you can become visible, where you can share your opinions, your knowledge, your experience, your insights, your humor, whatever it may happen to be, how can I help you so that you can help other people? And then all of
Wow.
a sudden, you're standing on equal ground because you're offering them something.
I love that. I love this conversation. But no, honestly, because that's also one of the things I want to, or I always, not only with the festival, I always kind of create also with my courses, is when people come together and they honestly talk about their topics on their path as an actor. They realize, they recognize always that they have the same topics. And the moment somebody speaks about it, they don't feel alone anymore. And there's something changing in the eye level, because they don't feel less anymore than the others. And
Yes.
that is also something I want to create. I mean, I hope in the end, on the last day, we will make like a networking, or everyone who wants comes together, also that people can exchange or network. And because for me, the word tribe, find your tribe, is also something which I really support, and which I kind of also create with my community, because I want people to not feel alone in that industry, to walk this
Yeah.
path together. And that is also what this festival is for, to inspire and to find like-minded people, to exchange, to find the topics that you need maybe in that moment, or that inspire or motivate you to take the next step. It's for me, I mean, I'm a career coach as well. I want people to grow. I want people to take the next step and to take action for their career.
Yeah.
And the first thing is something that you need eye level. And there in the festival, of course, you get a lot because all the speakers are there. But what I like is that, like you will also be one of the speakers, have wisdom, and many of them are also actors. So it's also from their experience, and we are all doing this together. It doesn't matter if you're a speaker or if you're a participant. We also want to hear your question, and we want to create like something which really motivates everyone afterwards to take action, and to like what you do, and to be in
Yeah.
the frustrated state, and that is what I want to create for everyone. Um,
Yeah.
Now I lost my point, but yeah, I think.
Well, we were talking about standing on equal footing and
Mm.
finding ways to create that so that you are on equal footing. And I think a
Yes,
fest
sorry,
yeah,
now I'm
go ahead.
wrong. Because I think that's something you also said before, is you start, I mean, you also have something to give as an actor, and you have to find the confidence again to, I mean, I don't know the listeners and what state they are, but if you want to take the next step, find confidence to do it and to share what you've got with the world.
Yeah.
And I want people to be motivated and to have the courage to share what they've got after the festival or in the festival or wherever. I don't care, but share or offer yourself, because I'm sure that everyone has something to offer. And
Absolutely. And the thing that I always say to my clients is, don't wait for the confidence, because action creates confidence.
yeah,
Taking that first step, I love. You were like, I don't know how I'm going to do this festival. I have no idea. And now you're doing it because you just started. Because I think we can often find ourselves like in a state of like, well, I don't know what to do, so I won't do anything. We were talking earlier, what was it? Something where people don't know which course to take, right?
yeah,
We were saying you had a client that was like, I just don't know what workshop to take. There are just so many out there and I don't know what's good and what isn't good.
yeah,
Anything you do that
yeah.
is moving in a direction is going to be better than standing still. There are no wrong decisions. And there are, honestly, I really don't think that there are any, or maybe there are, but I mean, I think that if you're taking acting lessons from a well-known coach, you're taking career, counseling from a coach that has proven methods and all of that, you're not going to get bad advice. The question is, do you resonate with that person? Is that somebody who speaks to you in a language that you understand? Because we
Yeah.
all hear things differently. And if that's a person and you're hearing what the message is, because the message, honestly, is going to be the same in more or less terms from everyone. Do something. Work on your mindset. Work on your branding. Work on your marketing. Work on your networking. We all say this, right? And it's just, when you find someone who you resonate, then do it, because not doing it is more dangerous than doing it.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
So tell me, I'm curious about it. Like, if an actor wanted to do an online festival, because I have a lot of listeners in the States and in Canada and, around the rest of Europe as well, who maybe don't speak German. So maybe, though, it's something that they could consider to try and find that equal footing within their area. And it doesn't necessarily have to be an online thing. It could be an in-person event. But what were some of what are the first three things that come to mind that you think someone should be thinking about when they're considering making a networking event like this, a learning and networking event?
The first things they should do, or
Yeah, what are the first things they should even contemplate doing?
I also thought about doing it live, but that that is something for the future for sure.
I think you should.
Yes, and then you can
So
also
much more energy in a
Yes,
live room than,
yes. I've been taking part in online speaker events as well, what I like about that is really everyone can participate, and
yeah.
I also took a lot from that. But it's different also if you meet, like, if there's a week where you can meet somewhere in a nice place or in a retreat center even.
You mean an in-person event? Okay, I thought you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay,
in
yeah.
the future, I would
Yeah,
like to
yeah,
do
yeah.
it
Yeah.
in
We
a
even talked about that, doing an actor's camp, summer
yes,
camp, which I would
yeah.
love to do.
Me too.
know?
Me too.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is another energy, but you cannot really compare it because there's something good about both of them. But you were just talking about, how did you do it? Well, I started, yes, and I can tell you that I also, in the last half a year, I would say, I went through ups and downs, like in doubts and trust myself and taking the next step and doubts again and not knowing how to do it, but still knowing how I always knew what the next step is and was. And
And you knew that just by trusting yourself, by listening to yourself, or you knew it because there are certain
Ex-
technical things to know too,
Yeah,
right?
technical things. I still have to figure out some stuff, some technical stuff. But I trusted myself in that way that first off, I had the experience where I was a speaker somewhere else and I saw how they did it. Not
That
everything,
helps.
but some
Yeah.
stuff. And the second thing was that I trusted myself I mean, it's also from experience of the last 4 years hosting workshops. And then you have some experience where you know you will deal with it and you will find a solution.
Mm.
But for me, most important was, and that is something that comes up now, in the beginning, I told you before we hit the record button that the first thing that was that I asked 20 people if they would participate
Mhm.
as speakers. And the reactions I get, that was most of them said, I love it. I want to be part of it. And this gave me a feeling of, okay, let's do this. And there was a part of me that was really scared. And it's
Yeah.
still a bit, but now it's forming and now we will just do it. But there was also always a part that was a bit scared.
Yeah.
But the good thing is, if you find people who say, I want to do this with you, I love the idea, that gives you an energy, you feel the support.
Yeah.
And that
For
gives you
sure.
motivation.
And if you're not scared, you're not thinking big enough.
Yes.
If it doesn't
Yeah.
scare you, it's not big enough.
Yeah.
It should scare you. Whatever you're doing, it should be a little bit scary.
Yeah.
We're talking to actors, right? And actors want they have big dreams. They want big lives. They want unusual lives. They are not trying to be a secretary in an accounting firm,
Yeah.
right? So that's safe. That shouldn't be scary. But the people who listen to this podcast, they've chosen the path of wanting something that's different. So if you're not doing something in your career, in your life, pretty much on a daily level that's not scaring you to some extent, then you're not doing it right. You have to be a little bit scared and do it anyway.
Yes. I read something, it just came to my mind now. I read something very interesting lately in German. I don't know if the English translation is the same, but we are often talking about the Leistungsgesellschaft. What is the English word for that?
Oh,
Yeah.
like the workers' mentality, I guess?
Yeah, kind of. So the
Yeah.
people think that they have to like work to get something back, or give to get something back.
Do you know which one? I think in English, it's not necessary. I don't know that we have a phrase for it, but a lot of people think they have to work harder instead of working better.
Oh, that's a good one as well.
Yeah.
Good one as well. Yeah, and what I want to say is that, because we're talking about actors, I also had the thought, because you asked me, people could just take like 30 people or 50 or 20 people even together and say, okay, let's have a week where we discuss different topics. Like, actors have to connect to each other, because otherwise they feel they are like a single warrior in all of this. They have to connect because they want to
Absolutely.
find out what they can inspire themselves. So every group of actors can create something like that for themselves. But the thing is, what I invested a lot in the last months for that, and I didn't earn money with it yet, because I haven't started to sell the tickets yet, which I will do now. But anyway, I thought about it. What is this investment? What does that mean? Like in German, die Leistung. And with this whole personal development, we got a thinking of, we shouldn't leisten, like give in so much anymore. It has to flow more. And also in this whole spiritual world. And I think if you walk a path like an exceptional path like an actor, you have to invest something. You have, and I don't mean, I also mean money, but I mean also you have to invest something of yourself, like an energy to go then to walk the next step, to take action, to expand, to extend your comfort zone, and that
I
is an
could
investment of yourself. You cannot think all the
absolutely.
time that people will save you. A casting director will not save you. Somebody who
Yeah.
books would
Well,
also
isn't
not.
this going to save you?
No, nobody
Oh,
will save
yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I so agree with what you're saying. I mean, it's something I'm saying again and again and again. If you don't invest in yourself, time, energy, and yes, also money,
Yeah.
how can you expect the film industry or the television industry or even a theater group to invest in you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And all I know, you and I both are always coaching actors, right? They want better auditions, they want more high caliber auditions, but they're not presenting themselves as a high caliber actor because they have not put in the time, the energy, and the money to
Yeah.
make themselves come across at that level.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
can't have both. If you're going, I'm always saying you have to keep showing the industry where you want to go and not just where you've been. Just because you don't have a lot of credits, doesn't mean that you have to come across as being unprofessional. It doesn't mean that you should show up with I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it, your crappy show reel with your 5, low budget short films. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. You're better off having 3 on brand, amazing self tapes
Yeah.
than having these 5 low budget things where you're out of focus or it's the back of your head and they're focusing on the other actor or the writing is bad. I mean, these are low budget films, right? So
Really.
they're great for experience, and I think every actor should do them just to get comfortable with being on camera and know what it is to hit your mark and know what it feels like when you're in your light and when you're not in your light. All of that stuff. You have to know that stuff as an actor. Know what it feels like when the camera says, when the director, well, hopefully you have a director that tells you we're going to go in for a close-up now, right? Okay, so you're not going to be doing all this, right? During your close-up. This is the time to be still, right? And and that's what they're good for. They're training grounds, but they're not good for getting as your portfolio for saying, look at what I've done, and therefore you should cast me in your Netflix series. No.
I love what you said about time, also investing time. I was talking to an actress in my podcast as well, and she said she doesn't have an education. But she said, I asked her, how did you become an actor? Or how can you confidently say today that you're an actor? And she said she did workshops, a lot of workshops, and she invested the time. So she made acting a part of her life. And in the end, that's why she can say today, I am an actor, because she does that.
Yeah.
And there
is
was
what
not
she does,
one
yeah.
certain moment where she said, okay, now I'm an actor, but she tried out many things. And for sure, she also did things which maybe were not the right ones. And then she tried out other workshops that showed her something else, or where she learned something from it. But she made it part of her life. And that is also, honestly, what I observe in the industry sometimes, that actors wait. And
Yeah.
waiting is something that kills your confidence, self-confidence. That is the first thing, to be honest.
You
I
mean
know
wait till they have the right show
wait,
reel or
yes.
waiting until they have the right.
Waiting for requests or for castings or
Yes.
for
Oh my
whatever it
God,
is.
yes.
If
Yes.
you wait and not take action, then you get in this downward spiral because you start to doubt things. You're not training. You're not going forward. You are waiting and thinking, and that's never the best solution. That
Yeah.
kills your confidence.
You're
So
standing still.
yes, so it
I
doesn't
always say
matter
you,
what you do, or what you train. If you are sitting in front of the camera and try out something for yourself, be creative. That's why you want to do that. So
yeah,
do it and find ways to share it. And yes, I know there
absolutely.
are many actors also. What I hear a lot is that they are frustrated. They say, okay, but yes, I can do it on my own and share my scene on Instagram and whatever. But I'm at a point where I'm so angry. I have to get a job because I also want to do that in a setting where I get paid for. And I totally get that. But the frustration comes from somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I totally agree. And I also think that actors they're just inherently creative, right? And yet when it comes to being creative about how to support yourself as an actor, because look, let's face it, the industry is in a bad state right now. In America, in Europe, in the UK, it's just not pretty out there at the
yeah.
moment. And so, and we see it with casting directors who are doing one workshop after another, and directors who are doing workshops. And, everybody's looking for a way to pay their rent. And that's okay, because these are things that can sustain them. But I mean, there are so many like I had a client a while back who she was totally into vintage. Like one of her passions was going vintage shopping. And she would just love to find these amazing pieces and then, wear them. And she did a great job with it. I was like, you should create a skit around like your new scarf, your new hat, your new earrings. Create like a story about them, put it up on TikTok, and sell the thing. Like those could be your little 1-minute sales videos for that thing. You're acting, you're having fun, you're doing that, and you should do it like on eBay. Like put that video up on eBay and let people. What got me thinking about this, I had read an article at one point about this horrible little dog, and I love dogs. But it was not it was like a mean little dog, and the owners didn't want it anymore. And so they were putting it up for adoption, but they were like, this dog has the soul of a tortured Victorian child and a this and a that. And they just gave it this whole story. And they ended up like, there was like I don't think it was a bidding war, but it was like they ended up like getting so many letters to say, I want to adopt this dog, because they created a story around it. And I think that there are so many things. I'm not saying, I'm not into vintage. So although I love vintage furniture, I do love that. But I think that there are so many ways that people can create opportunities for themselves with their creativity that they don't think of, right? And sure, it takes a little bit of time. Yes, you may have to wait tables until you actually have another leg to stand on selling your vintage stuff as an actor and working on your acting career, right? We have to be flexible. We have to think of other ways to make money.
Oh, there's so much in what you just said. I agree. I think every actor should have something else, and can create something else or build something else with their personality, with their creativity.
Yes. And there are
when I talk to the actors or clients, I always see at least one other thing they could do with their creativity.
Yeah,
And
same.
I think actors are much more than actors are artists, but they are so much more. And by the way, there's also one talk about in the festival, a speaker talk. She's also an actress and a keynote speaker and coach talking about charismatic thought leadership. And that is about how you inspire with your personality, because that's also something I think a lot of actors are also a bit scared to hold back with their opinion and what they stand for, because I think if they have a bit more audience or a community, many actors, they have something to share, a political opinion or something they do charity for, or like a thought. Like you are a personality who stands in the public and who can change something, and not only through acting. So
Absolutely. This is
yeah,
another thing. I totally agree. I'm always saying, look, don't be afraid to show them who you are. In
yeah.
fact, be afraid not to show them who you are.
Oh,
Because it's so true, though.
yeah.
Because the more you look, theater may be different, but film and television is all about your essence, your energetic signature, your vibe. And so if you're trying to pretend to be something else, I recently had an actor who had attended my masterclass, and then he sent me sort of his branding kit. What he had, he went to a photographer who helped him put together 10 different, fully different character types, 10. And I thought, and they were all good. They were all like, you could see them. They weren't like costumes, but you could totally like, yes, they all was. So I really loved how this photographer was great at her art production, because that's what it was. It was art production. But I said, which three represent you best? Because, for instance, one of the ones, well, he sent me for himself, and he also sent me for a woman. So I'll use the woman as an example. The woman had she had like the nerdy professor, the nerdy young millennial, the quirky best friend, the classy lady, the femme fatale, the seductress, and then there were like 10 of these, right? So the girl who naturally plays the quirky best friend is not naturally going to be playing the seductress. That's a whole nother vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so which one is more authentic? Because that's what it comes down to.
Mhm.
And that's when you walk into the room, which is the vibe that you have that is most you. Because when you are saying, hey, I can be this seductress woman, but actually I'm really kind of more the quirky best friend, and you walk into the room, if they have cast you based on your pictures,
Mm.
and in Germany they do that for the
Yeah.
smaller roles.
Yeah.
A lot of times
Yeah.
they'll cast you on, your headshot. And you walk in and you're like all over the place with your energy. And they were thinking it was really like a cool leading with her body and someone who's, more of a watcher and this and that. And you're actually like all up in their face and you're a totally, kind of intellectual. And what do you think? And this, if they're going to feel like they were catfished is what it
Mm.
boils down.
Mm.
Don't catfish the casting directors, right?
Yes.
Because that's how you get actors are so worried to get on their bad list by bothering them with an email or by asking them a question or whatever it is. The fastest way to get on a casting director's bad list is by catfishing them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is also something what I observed as well. Also in my acting time 10 years ago, I thought I want to show everything I can be.
Yeah.
But that is too much. I mean, show up as who you are and what you stand for. And of course, at some point that's I think also what you no, you will tell us later what you will talk about, but what you teach as well is like how to get better roles is also is not by doing everything. It's by I would say also taking risky decisions or bold decisions to show up as something or a character you want to be. Or like I was also talking to Teresa. She was also in your
I
podcast
love
talking
her.
about
Yeah.
archetypes.
Yeah.
That is so interesting. But take decisions. It's the
Yeah.
same thing as take decisions and not try to be everything, but take decisions as who are you? What do you want to stand for? And show personality. And don't be scared to show something which you, or don't try to hide something, because the thing is, the casting director will also see maybe something else in what you,
Yeah.
what, and
And
what.
honestly, there is nothing bad.
No.
If you are a petty, if you are whatever it is, whatever you think, that darkness in you that you have to hide, that may be exactly what they're looking for.
Yes. Yes.
And that is the beautiful thing about being an actor. We need all types. We need all flavors. We need all shades. Nobody just wants hot pink the whole time, right? We need the whole rainbow. We need and all the shades of the rainbow, the dark and the light and the transparent and the heavy, and we need it because that's humanity. And you always have to think in terms of they're putting together a world. And how do you fit into that world? And so you had touched on something like, for me, it's like I also did the same thing. I'm not saying this is something that I've come to, but I also think that the acting industry has changed because actors used to be expected to be chameleons.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and now, very long time, and now you're expected to just be.
Yeah.
And the only way to just be is to just be yourself. And it's scary and it's hard, but it is. And it's scary because yes, not everybody's going to resonate with that. Not everybody's going to want that. And when I say that, my heart hurts a little bit.
Yeah,
'cause
mine too.
It is. Yeah. And because nobody wants that. And I think actors are the bravest people in the world. Putting themselves, truly their essence, their heart, their soul, their wounds, their open wounds on the line to be examined and judged. And that's scary.
Yeah.
And I get why they want to hide and say, but I can do everything. But I truly believe we are all like faceted diamonds. And I don't know if I've ever told you this before, but so like if you think of a faceted diamond, a ring, right? Where on the top there's the crown of the diamond, and that is the me that you are seeing on a daily basis. If you see me on a daily basis, right? It's just the mask that I wear. It's the shine. It's the big stuff. And yeah, you're definitely getting a feeling for who I am, but you don't know me until you get to know me. And that's like the facets as you go down to the point at the bottom. And we all, every human being on this planet could live 1,000 different lives. And we actors explore those different lives. And so I think, to me, what it means to be authentic is to find that facet that most closely resembles the character you're trying to play, and to shine it up and hold it up to the light and hope that it catches. But it's not about putting something on top of the diamond to make it an emerald or an opal. That's not what we're trying to do. You're trying to show the shine, the essence, the brilliance from within.
That is, you brought something into words right now, what I felt in the workshop we were talking about in the beginning.
With Kim's
More
workshop.
truth with Kim.
Yeah, yeah.
That is something I've felt since that workshop, that it is so beautiful to see ourselves.
Yes. God, it's beautiful.
Oh,
I could cry now. Honestly,
too.
it's so moving to see people just being raw and authentic and
Yes.
yeah.
And that is also what you just said. We are not trying to be something or someone or a character, someone else, another character. We are going deep inside and bringing something to the character. And that is the most beautiful and magical thing. So that also, I realized a lot in the past weeks as well, and through that workshop. I've always said this whole year already that visibility starts inside of us. But I experienced it myself in that workshop and after that, and how much I love that. To start with myself, to giving myself the space to see myself and bring that out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's workshops like Kim's workshop that make, where you really get a chance to do what I think is what inspired most of us to become actors.
Really.
When you really get that chance to get in touch with your emotions in a way that can affect other people and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah. Boy, we went off on a tangent.
Yeah, no, I love this topic.
Yeah.
Love this topic.
Yeah. But, and so I guess it started because we were saying that, so, actors are afraid they feel that if they narrow down, if they niche down, we live in a niche world. Everybody's has a niche. And we do too, as actors. And they're afraid that if they niche down, they are going to be closing off opportunities for themselves.
Yeah.
But the truth is, it's the only way to stand out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to realize that the more authentic you are, the more you lean into who you are and what you stand for and what you believe in, and show yourself to be a fully three-dimensional human being, the more people can see you in that way when they're trying to cast you.
Yeah.
And yes, there are people that, as we, had spoken about earlier, there will be people who are turned off, who don't like that or want that, but that's okay. It's like a filter. It's filtering in the people that want it, and it's filtering out the people that don't. And you don't need everybody.
Yeah.
You just need a few people who believe in you.
That is also something I recognized after the workshop, that the more I see myself and the more I stand out just like as who I am, the less I need to belong to somebody or something or any circle or whatever. I don't need to fit in anymore. If I give myself this space to be all of that, what I really want, what really my needs are, if I am able to say no to things that I don't want, if I'm able to feel what I don't want and what I want, then I don't need to fit in so much anymore. And I don't need to belong to people. I don't need people to approve that I'm doing this step or that I'm doing it right or wrong. I'm growing more into that space where I know what my next step is, and I don't need anybody to say yes or no to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that. And I think that, look, as a human being, that's hugely important. I do think as actors, we need feedback just to make
Yeah.
sure that what we're sending out there is
Mhm.
being received in the way we intend it to be received.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because we're so close to our instrument, our product, ourselves, we don't see it clearly. So it's really, really important to get that feedback. If this is my brand, right? And what does that mean? And honestly, a brand is just how do you want to be thought of as an actor,
Mhm.
right? What is, you know, and there's a lot to it naturally. It's not something, everybody wants, well, just tell me, what's my brand, right? It's like, no, I can't tell you. I can help you find it, but you have to find it because it's your brand. It's not my brand,
Yeah.
you know? And it's work. And a lot of people are just like, oh, I didn't sign up for all this work, just give it to me. Just tell me, you know? And I think maybe there are coaches out there that do that, but I don't think that you are doing someone a service. I think that people have to find for themselves because ultimately you're following somebody else's path for you if you don't find it for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that can be really scary is about this whole branding thing as far as actors go, is they think that, oh, once I brand myself, not only will I be limited, but then I'm just limited forever. And that's
Thank
just
you.
not the case. First of all, you can evolve. You can change your mind. You can decide 2 years down the line as you evolve and grow as a person that you would like to explore maybe a different genre or a different style of acting or different themes, right? We all move through seasons in our lives. Like the roles that interested me when I was in my 20s are not the roles that interested me in
Yeah.
my 30s and in my 40s and in my 50s now. So, I mean, they're all different and but there are themes. I mean, I definitely have themes in my life and I believe that we all do that we resonate with more than others,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, go ahead.
No. I have a question to you.
Well, go ahead. What is it?
Yeah, it is about that because I have in my head that you have this workshop, Get Better Roles. So what in short, what are the most important things that people get better roles?
So for me, the most important thing is understanding your brand and being able to articulate it in a way that resonates with other people so that they understand what it is you represent, what it is you do.
Yeah.
And the articulation, it could be a log line. I just had an interview with a screenwriter and he was like, oh, he had such a good quote. I can't remember it now, but it was like, and have a good log line. And I said, yeah, but you know what? Actors need log lines too. Even if they do. Even if, and a log line is like harder to come up with than the entire script. It is. It's so hard to be succinct, to be clear and to sum everything up in one sentence. But if you can come up with a log line that represents you, it can act as your North Star
Yeah.
and lead your direction for your marketing and for your networking. So for me, I play fierce, fallible women that walk the razor's edge between light and dark, women who stumble but never go down without a fight. So and that just that's my log line, right?
Yeah.
But do I always use that? Do I lead with it? No. It's not something, but these are the roles that interest me the most. Women who are making big mistakes, but who are gonna make them with their whole body and heart, and who are making the wrong moves a lot of times, but but still have fierce love and fierce intentions. And like another thing I like in my masterclass, I have the actors come up with 3 adjectives that to sum themselves up. So for me, again, it's fierce, resilient, and complex. And yes, that describes me, but it also describes the roles
Yeah.
that I play. And so to have that kind of a log line, what that does is act as a beacon
Yeah.
so that you can begin to create pitches that are on brand. Because everything we do when it comes to not working on our craft is about getting work. And how do you get work? You have to get an agent. You have to pitch yourself to an agent. You have to pitch yourself to the casting directors. You have to pitch yourself to directors and producers and showrunners. You have to pitch yourself when you submit to an audition. You are always pitching yourself as an
Yeah.
act, whether you realize it or not. So it's really, I mean, it's a holistic approach all across, because also mindset is 80% of your success. Whether you believe you can or you can't,
Yeah.
you're right, So mindset is 80%, and the rest is really just figuring out the mechanics.
Yeah. Yeah.
But how you get into the rooms is being able to know what you're selling and being able to sell it in a way that when people need what you have to offer, they know to come to you. Making yourself the go-to person in your niche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. You will talk about, I just opened here the schedule of the festival, and you will talk about that as well.
I'm talking about pitching. Yeah.
3 career shifts to book better roles.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward.
Yeah.
40
Yeah.
minutes with Anne, 50 minutes.
I hope I can make it so short. I talk a lot.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So cool. I'm looking forward.
Yeah, me too. So we've just kind of gone off on a bunch of different directions. Is there anything that people need to know about the festival as we sort of wind down and wrap this up?
Just come and have a week-long party with us.
Yeah, for sure. I will definitely put it in the show notes. I'm going to be promoting it on
Honestly,
social media. Yeah,
there are
for
so
sure.
many different topics. Now I'm looking at it. Really, it goes from there's one person also talking about ancestors and how our ancestor can influence our visibility. So that's really
Our
deep down-
visibility or our appearance?
No,
both?
visibility, like that. The
how you
influence our
present
ancestors
yourself.
have on us, for example, the behavior we have today. Like are we holding back? Is there something from our past which is still stuck inside ourselves? Why we are not as successful as we want to be?
Ooh, I just got chills. That's a good one.
So it goes really back to our roots and our parents and grandparents, and so that's one of also I'm looking forward. I'm very interested, and this, so we also have some people going more into the spiritual way, like spirit artist. What is that? Artist, soul artist. What is a soul artist? Like we also have the spiritual part in it, and then we have so many beautiful topics. Also, a mom who goes on tour with her child, and who also got the green card in America to work there as well as a German. Oh gosh, I could tell all the topics now. Also, one is also how to
Well,
deal.
I'll link to it because I'm sure you have
Yes.
it on your website
Yeah.
and all of that, right?
Yeah.
So people can just look and see which
Yes.
one. I mean, honestly, it's 8 days, right? It's 7 days or 8
Or
days?
7 days.
7 days, and I think I can say the price, right? It's 89
Yeah, we have 2
euros.
different tickets. It's one if you only attend live, like then it's 39 euros. You can attend the
my
whole
God.
week, all talks.
It's like $4 a day, $5
Yes.
a day. Nothing. It's less than a Starbucks coffee.
Yes. And we
Yeah.
have like it's always, we have a whole morning session till around noon, and then we have an afternoon session from 6 till 8 or 9.
An
And
evening session. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, an evening session. And yeah, and there's another ticket if you want also to have the recording of the whole event, then you pay 89 euros.
Ugh.
And then you can also watch all the talks afterwards, and every speaker will have a beautiful gift for you as well. So there's a lot to take from it. And yeah,
Amazing. I love it. It's such a good idea. And we really didn't get into the nitty gritty, but maybe, you know what? Maybe when you finish the festival, we can have a debrief
yes,
and find out what you learned and what you would suggest if somebody wanted to put together their own
yeah,
festival. Because I think that could be something really, really interesting. And
yeah,
it's a great way to get yourself on even footing with other people, not just actors, because yes, it's important to create that community. It's one of my 5 pillars is community with actors. But we don't have to hold ourselves apart from directors and casting directors and coaches and all of that. They can also be part of our community.
yes, yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So, Micah, I have one question I always ask everyone, and so I'm going to ask you. What is one bold thing that you've done that really made a big difference in your life? And maybe it's this festival, I don't know. Like,
Ooh, that I will tell you afterwards. But yeah, I am interesting. The first thing that came now was this year to get into that raw truth workshop and start acting again, or to show up with my acting again. That was one bold thing for me this year. It felt very bold. I would say that everything that has to do with my own path, it doesn't matter if it's an actor or if it's a coach, my own business. If it belongs to my path, this whole path is bold, I would say, because I feel like every few weeks or even every day, it's bold to walk that path as a creative person. Because it's different, because nobody can tell you where this path leads to and what the exact way is, how to do it. I read an interesting sentence that fits to it a lot. If the path in front of you is straight or clear, maybe it's not your path because you're walking the path of somebody else. Well,
oh, I love that.
yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I felt this year and also last year, or since my path as a creative person felt always like this, like it's not straight and it's not always clear. And that is something bold, because with every step, you have to learn to trust yourself more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's what we were saying earlier too. If it's not scary, you're not thinking big enough. Maybe that's the theme of this podcast episode. I don't know. Micah, it's been such
Yeah,
a
I want to
pleasure
give that to
having you.
everyone, please. If the path is straight, maybe it's not yours.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. Well,
Well,
thank you so, so, so much for coming on iFold again and sharing all of your wisdom and insight and your festival. That's going to be November 11th through the
17.
17th. Okay.
Yeah.
So next month, a month from now, woo, okay, it's coming up. I got to prepare. I got to go.
Me too. Thank you so much
Anyway,
I
yes,
always love
absolutely.
the conversations with you.
So, bold ones, let us know in the comments what really stood out to you about our conversation. We touched on so many different things, so I'm really excited to see what you resonated with or responded to the most. And until next time, you stay your bold and beautiful self. Bye-bye.
Ich hoffe sehr, dass wir dich mit dieser Folge inspirieren konnten, dass du etwas für dich und deinen Weg daraus mitgenommen hast. Ich würde mich natürlich sehr über dein Feedback freuen. Das kannst du uns wie immer bei Instagram unter dem Post zur heutigen Folge oder auch bei YouTube direkt in den Kommentaren, entweder auf meinem oder auf Annes Account hinterlassen. In jedem Fall freue ich mich sehr, wenn du deine Gedanken und das, was du mitgenommen hast aus der Folge, mit uns teilst. Du würdest mir einen Riesengefallen tun, wenn du diesen Podcast weiterempfiehlst an deine Freunde, Kollegen, Verwandten, wer auch immer von diesen Inhalten profitiert. Und wenn du mir folgst, wo auch immer du diesen Podcast hörst oder schaust, wenn du mir eine positive Rezension gibst in deiner Podcast-App und vielleicht auch einen kleinen Text dazu schreiben magst, darüber würde ich mich sehr freuen. Ich lese das natürlich alles und freue mich über jeden Kommentar und gleichzeitig unterstützt du natürlich auch das Wachstum dieses Podcasts. Ich würde mich ebenfalls riesig freuen, wenn du beim CrÆtive Mind Online Festival mit dabei sein magst. Die Tickets habe ich dir natürlich in den Shownotes verlinkt. Und wenn wir uns dort wiedersehen, sollte es jetzt schon nach dem 11. bis 17. November sein und du jetzt erst diese Folge hörst, und du sagst, dieses Festival, das interessiert mich, dann gibt es natürlich auch eine Aufzeichnung, die du auch nach dem Event noch erwerben kannst. Auch diesen Link findest du in den Shownotes und diese Aufzeichnung steht dir für mindestens ein Jahr zur Verfügung. Also da kannst du gerne alles nachschauen und das Wissen all meiner großartigen Speaker mitnehmen. Ich danke dir von ganzem Herzen fürs Zuhören. Ich wünsche dir einen wundervollen Tag oder Abend und ich freue mich natürlich, wenn du auch bei der nächsten Folge wieder mit dabei bist.